Hello friends and fellow gamers, there's a new update for Idle Heroes which increases the power of your strongest hero. However, there's a catch. You need all of the sublimation, level 120 in the Tree of Origin, and that's just to get started and even be able to begin upgrading them. There's a ton of new currencies, resources, power creep things, and you have to use now crystals of Transcendence to upgrade these heroes. It's a little bit crazy. So take a look at my Asmodel the Dauntless. For your viewing pleasure, I have taken him up to a noble core, and I've also gone and given him level 120 in the Tree of Origin. The reason being, it has unlocked this new menu called the Destiny Transition, and this unlocks two things. The Destiny Temple, which is a location which allows you to increase the number of these fancy powerful heroes you have, and also increases the potential damage these heroes are capable of doing. Your strongest of these divine heroes that you'll be building gains a damage boost and a damage resistance increase proportional to how strong they are. So if they're 6-star, for example, which is the highest you can get them, they gain 60% extra damage and 35% damage resistance. This is really nice for anyone in all game modes, because if you're using, for example, a bursty Mockman that needs to kill a wave early, you can increase his power. If you need damage for Star Expedition, you can increase that hero's power. And ultimately, it's just a way of building them to be more powerful and gain more damage reduction. But that's not the only thing here. We have an area called Destiny Transition, which currently looks a little boring, so let me show you what it looks like when they're fully upgraded. Let's start with Asmodel, shall we? He gains a bunch of new skills, as does every hero. There are 6 abilities available, and all of these 6 increases will affect a brand new skill called the Transition skill. This Transition skill will consume a particular currency called Ascension Power, or it's called Ascension Force, or it's called Flying Power, or it's called Flying Force, or it's called Ascent, or it's called Ascension. Basically, there's a bajillion translations of this thing, but don't worry, it's all the same stuff. There's only one little caveat which you might notice is sometimes they mention other skills, like for example with Sword Flash, where she has this thing called Flawless Sword Intent. That's actually impeccable flow. Don't ask me why, it's just really badly translated. I had to go into the Chinese game to look at the Chinese figures to be like, oh, okay, those are what that is. Right. So there are a few issues with the translations, but trust me when I say Flying Power and Ascension Power, and Ascension Force, and Flying Force, and Ascent, or whatever it gets called, it's all the same stuff. So translation issues aside, basically, the top area called the Moon Abyss will improve the specific skill. So some heroes will consume 12 layers to do increased damage, some will consume a smaller amount of layers to do maybe a different ability. That's mainly assassins that do that kind of thing. Or maybe you'll have support heroes that can go ahead and consume these layers to buff your team. Either way, you will gain increases to damage or the performance of your hero or their support abilities based off this transition skill, which will trigger off these layers. At the very bottom, we have the Phantom Dawn. This will increase the layers you have based on normal attacks, which will be your basic attacks. You gain 3. On active skills, you can gain 6. And you can go with this last one, which means when you get hit by active skills or normal attacks, there's an 80% chance to gain a layer of the Flying Power or Ascension Power. So basically, that bottom skill lets you gain the layers, the middle skill consumes them, and the top one improves the middle skill. Now, on the side, you gain additional bonuses. This one here, called Sun Halo, is going to improve your either total damage, it might improve your attack, then this one in the middle will improve your healing in some way, and then the final one will increase your speed by 100. Now, do note that you can only choose one of these buffs. So what's really cool is it's added a ton of customization options to your heroes. Further down, there are additional bonuses you can have, which could maybe debuff opponents or buff your team. So in this case, we're improving the highest attack hero and their attack. Maybe there's this one that increases your anti-control rate. Now that sounds like a translation bug. I think it's meant to be control immunity. But hey, they've invented new terms now for exactly the same things. We'll need to go and data mine this over the weekend and have a little read of all the skills to see what actually translates across, because the impression we're getting is some bozo intern went and did some Google Translate stuff and did not use the same keywords we have in the game, which means this is probably going to get patched within the next week or two to actually make sense. The final skill here says increase the energy of back row heroes by 20. That's nice, a little bit of energy feed here for Asmodel. Every hero is going to have their own different things, but nonetheless, there's some cool stuff lying around. For example, Asmo can increase the armor of your front row heroes. The shields! You can gain shields! That's pretty cool! And as well, you can get the option of removing negative effects, so you can have some Purify. And all of this can be customized in the menu. So the Destiny Transition menu doesn't just have to be the one you lock in. So basically, it's going to make it really similar to Enables, where we can just customize our heroes as we need, and that's going to make our powerful heroes even more versatile, customizable, and increase the number of options we have as players, which is really exciting. The only thing you need to do, though, is gain the currency to do this. So let's go see what it costs. So let's go to Destiny Transition, let's activate it, and you'll see straight away it's going to cost Crystals of Transcendence, and it's going to cost this new currency called Divine Power Aurora Gems. And you might think, where the heck do I get that stuff? Well, first of all, if I just go and Idle Master, I might be able to claim some from Campaign. Is that the case? Well, I did manage to get that stuff there. That's nice. And that all comes from being all the way up to 2510. And that's when this starts dropping. So you're able to gain... Well, let's go take a look at the currencies. If we go to 2510, you're able to gain... Where is it? We'll look here. There it is. You're able to gain the Scattered Spirit Vein Shard, and you're able to gain the Aurora Gem Shard. But you can also get them from these bosses, which have spawned in campaign. Now, these bosses will appear every time you complete a chapter. Now, I, of course, am in Chapter 5, and I will be clearing this, hopefully, within the future at some point when I get round to it. But the more important thing is the way you get these currencies easily is by killing these bosses. So let's go ahead and challenge one of these bosses. Everyone has managed to go up to 2 million points, and that's based on the 3 attacks we get today, and the fact that they probably killed 3 bosses with these 3 attacks. Now, before you go and attack these bosses, there's a few things you need to do. Once you start an attack, that attack will last for an hour, and then you have your attempt to go and attack, and you basically need to get all that done within those 3 chances to kill the boss. Now, it will reset at midnight. There's something we don't know yet. You can correct me in the comment section if I'm right, but it says that this stuff refreshes at midnight. Now, that's your attempts. Now, I don't know if there's going to be some pro strat where you start attacking this before midnight, and then you use the 3 additional attacks to finish it off. That might be a thing to make sure you can kill these bosses, or the boss's HP is going to reset at midnight as well. Now, there is a key line here in number 4 that says the boss's HP of the previous battle will be reserved. So if you don't beat it in one attempt, it's not like Seal Land where you just go in and try again. The HP of the boss will carry on over, like it's Star Expedition. So that's quite good. Broken Spaces work similarly, but the difference is you have a lot more attacks. So let's go ahead and attack it. It says the challenge will be settled directly, and 1 challenge chance will be consumed. If you quit in the middle of a challenge... Okay, so we don't want to quit, we just want to confirm the challenge, yes. And now the challenge has begun. So let's go put in our team. I'm going to be using Aspen as a main homeowner. He's really good at bosses. We've got Ailomac to give us shields. We've got Asmonel the Dauntless. I've got him built up with, like, Lucky Candy Bar, just in case this guy is like the boss in Star Expedition and crowd controls us. If there is no crowd control, though, I will take that off and go for some more consistent energy feed by using Demon Bells. But for now, I'm just going to be using Lucky Candy Bars in hope that that works. I'm going to go with Halora for buffing. I'm going to go with Freya for buffing, and that leaves us with 1 hero slot, which we'll just use with Elena. And I already have a lot of crit damage on my team, especially the Aspen, so I'm actually going to use Wolf here just to gain some more precision and some more armor break. And I think for our core, I'm going to be using Mystic Fairy Freyas. Now, that's added to +3, so we get a lot of attack bonuses. That's 32% attack increase, which is quite nice. Granted, obviously, fixed attack isn't going to scale with that, but that doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and see what happens. We've got some energy feed, we've got some Lucky Candy Bars, we've got ourselves with the Melodic Strings, just in case this ends at round 6. Let's go see how this plays out. Okay, this looks an awful lot like the boss in Void. Oh, wow. Okay, Aspen killed that in 1 attack. Well done! That was really, really good. Okay, that also got us a ton of Stellar Shards. What's really cool about this is these bosses drop a lot of Stellar Shards. Like, the Stellar Shard income you can gain from these is really, really fun, which is fantastic. And then you can see I've just started another fight against this boss, so we're going to go put in our lineup. We're going to use exactly the same lineup as last time, so it's going to be Freya, Halora, we're going to be using Ailomac, and we use Elena here. Put in that Wolf Pet again, and Halora goes first, puts out the Abyssal Corruption, then we're going to go ahead and smack the opponent with Aspen again. Aspen's going to focus that enemy there. You can only use Transcendence Heroes in these fights as well, so no using Drake, no using Rogan. It's like Void Campaign, you're limited to Transcendence Heroes. So a lot of strategies like stuff in Star Expedition, using heroes like Olivia, using Ignis, that stuff's not going to work here. Also, you're not getting all the special things from Star Expedition. But either way, it's not a Star Expedition boss. Anyway, this guy is like a crab who's yoinked straight from Realm's Gate. So it will function differently. I'm imagining, though, the Void Ark Realms Gate boss that we know that does kill us straight away at round 6 and things like that is going to be what this guy is. Okay, it looks a lot like Seal Land as well, so strats that work in Seal Land will probably work here too. Obviously, people are going to have to research and see what works nicely. I am using some very, very strong heroes, so I am, of course, doing a lot of damage here, and it's going rather smoothly. I wonder whether we are going to just kill this straight away, or whether it is at this point worth switching, because I'm not getting crowd controlled, so I might just pop in Asmo in a house. I don't think we're taking enough damage, so let's actually switch Asmo into our Cloud Island. So we have 2 massive damage dealers. Lord of Fear Aspen is going to be rocking an Antler's Cane still. I think I'm going to switch this time to Melodic Strings on Asmodel the Dauntless. We're going to give him attack, holy damage as well. In fact, if I can switch this to skill damage, holy damage, that would be amazing if I can get this now. Let's see if we can find it. Oh, there it is. Holy damage, skill damage. Sweet. So that is absolutely what we're going to be running on him. So we'll put that in there, and then everything else looks pretty clean. We got holy damage, we got crit damage, we got armor break. That takes our armor break way up. We should be rocking, yeah, 92.2. Crit damage is really high at 125.7, and our crit's only 20%, but that's fine. Now, you've probably noticed that the currency we've been gaining from campaign is not the same as this big fancy currency. That is because we need to buy the currency using the currency we're obtaining from campaign. So I can go ahead and use 10,000 of the currency I've already obtained to get myself Divine Power Aurora gems. Those gems will allow us to activate our heroes. So currently, I don't think anyone has actually managed to activate a hero yet, because even from those attacks we've done in campaign, I've only got enough to buy 2. We still do have 1 campaign attack left. I cannot Destiny Transition him yet. So of course, what we're going to go ahead and do is just get our team nice and strong, because I feel like this is not as much like Star Expedition as I thought it was going to be. So in that case, I'm just going to go full energy feed. So we've got Demon Bell on Alomak, Demon Bell on Freya. I'm going to go Demon Bell on Halora and a Demon Bell on Elena if I can get that popped in. That's going to be lovely, jubbly energy feed. So that's going to bring Alomak up to 9.3 million. We've got ourselves 14 million on Asmodel the Dauntless and then 10 million on Aspen. Yeah, that'll have to do. Right, let's go ship this in then and see how this boss fight plays out. It's going to be pretty insane, I'm imagining. So, here we go. Next attack. Difficulty number 3. We'll use our challenge attempt. We've only got 1 left. Let's make it count. We'll put Asmodel at the front. We'll put Halora in second. And then Aspen. Yeah, he's still going to hit the little guys there. We've got Alomak, Freya, and Elena. Kind of the same team I use a Void campaign, actually. And then we'll still put in... I think we're going to go with Phoenix for the extra crit damage on Asmodel. That should be fine now. Obviously, we've got too much crit damage on Aspen now, but I don't really mind. Let's go see how this one plays out. So already we're blocking. Alomak's giving us shields. That's really nice. We've got some stuns coming out there too. Great job, team. There's our Queen's Guard. And yeah, we're a little slow here, but I think we're still able to survive thanks to Alomak. Good thing we put him in then. Those shields helping. There's an active from Asmodel doing a ton of damage. Okay. Wow. Holy crap. Aspen instantly died. Oh, we might still win this. Let's go. All we need is a really good active skill from Asmodel the Dauntless, and he's cleared this. There you go. That was really good. That was really, really good. Yeah. Okay, I'm happy with that. Round 3 kill. Bunch of points obtained. Confirm. That's our 2 million points. And I think that's going to put us on the leaderboard, respectively. Yeah, it did. So that was a pretty clean, easy fight. Asmodel doing pretty damn good there. And I have no more challenge attempts left. And of course, that stuff is going to get us more Stellar Shards to use. So actually, if I back out now, I should have a ton of Stellar Shards just coming from all that. Yeah, I got 1.8 million. Okay. Pretty good. So yeah, these bosses, make sure you attack them every day if you've unlocked one. Just as a way to try and make sure you're getting these wins in. It's going to gain you Crystals of Transcendence, Stellar Shards, and the necessary currency to allow you to upgrade your heroes. For the time being, though, given it's only day 1, I don't think there is a way I can have enough of this currency out. Yeah, I can only get 3 of these items. So we're going to have to attack again at reset, and then that's going to allow us to put this Destiny Transition on Asmodel the Dauntless. So if you want to see how that looks and all the power you can gain from those things, subscribe to the channel. We will be doing that on the VIP series, but basically that's a quick rundown of how this new update works. One thing I will say to finish it for anyone that's a free-to-play player or a budget player that is fairly new to the game, you guys will not be able to do this. And that's not because you're a free-to-play player, your life sucks, grr, this is only for whales. It's just because you haven't been playing long enough to accumulate enough of the resources in this game to be able to justify having all the necessary items required. It's full sublimation on the hero, and a noble core of origin. That's a lot to ask for a free-to-play player. To get all that stuff purely from events, that's 14 top rewards, 8 melon chests, 6 cores of origin, along with the free core of origin that you get from campaign anyway. Now, some free-to-play players may be looking at a hero like Jara for this because you do upgrade her core of origin, or maybe even just get that as your first core of origin. That might be a good idea, but I think for the majority of free-to-play players, actually, you might want to draw your attention to someone who is going to carry you way deeper into campaign. It could be a Vulcan, it could be a Mockman, it could be an Ailamak, someone who, when you make them a homeowner, is giving you good defense. The nice thing is, as well, is you can leave us, as the higher-ranked, further ahead members of the community, to test what works well, and I'm sure in future weeks and months we'll figure out what the best route for free-to-play and budget players is. Generally, though, in this game, the game goal is always to make one hero really, really, really strong, because that's how the Cloud Island encourages you to play. That's how, of course, the Tree of Origin resource management stuff encourages you to play. You just want to focus on one hero to make them as big as possible, whether that means just having an A tier, an S tier, or just a really good B hero that can clear through campaign with good support. That's kind of how you want to think about this game. Obviously, you can start to expand your strategy when you gain other Cloud Island buildings, because yes, you can have multiple homeowners eventually. Yes, your treasure train can pad out the skills of other people, but generally speaking, you will always have one hero stronger than the rest, and the rest of your team will focus in buffing. So even though this uses Crystals of Transcendence, the key currency needed to build Transcendence Heroes, and you might think in your mind that that's actually going to slow down your rate of acquiring Transcendence Heroes, it's probably still okay to do that, to buff up one hero as strong as possible, rather than build a very wide selection of Transcendence Heroes. Bear in mind, you're going to need a team that can already get to 2, 5, 10 in campaign, and that typically will require 6 Transcendence Heroes unless you've got an A tier, and that will still also need to be a team that is capable of beating these bosses so that you can accumulate Aurora Gem Shards. So I'm imagining, even for free-to-play players and budget players, it's still probably best to get 6 Transcendence Heroes. Now, that's entirely theoretical, that's purely speculative, and we have no evidence or research to back that claim up yet, because no one has actually tested this or figured out minimal ways to go and clear campaign with the new update. So stay tuned, keep your ears down with the research that's happening in the players that play this game as free-to-play players and budget players, and just know that if you're a newer player who doesn't quite have enough to go and even be in the world of having maybe 4 or 5 or 6 Transcendence Heroes, that actually that's kind of a good thing, because it means you can give us time to research and test, so that when you do finally get to that point, you can be happy and rest assured that we already know what's going to be really helpful for you. It just means in future events there's more of an encouragement to pick up Core of Origins, and of course there's an encouragement to pick up Sublimation. So make sure you're grabbing that stuff as a free-to-play player if you aren't already, and I'm sure next week's event, which is a big Profit Orb event, is going to help us with that as well. In fact, you might find that next week's event gives us some of the currency needed to make these Destiny transitioned heroes, and if you do want to go ahead and have a read through the Destiny transition skills, that's quite a fun thing to do, because a lot of them are pretty cool, and if you want to know how to do that, actually, just go click the bottom button down here and just go as if you were looking at the 10-star heroes, and just click down here, and you can read all the different abilities that heroes have. Obviously, give them some liability for the fact the translation's terrible. Flying power is the same as... it says flying power for... Every other hero says Ascension Power or Ascension Force, and it seems that no, Ailamak actually says Flying Power in this one. Have you seen Lord of Fear Aspens, by the way? It doesn't even say either of those things. It just says Ascent and Ascension. And he's called, in this particular... This is how ridiculous the translation's gotten. He's called Abyss of Fear Asbu. Like, what is this? So, yeah, it's a little weird, but I think that's just a translational error, and I'm sure that'll get patched in the future. And if it doesn't, I will continue to complain to the devs directly through the ways I have of communicating with them until they do fix it, for all our sakes. So, yeah, hopefully you guys, if you can get some value out of this update, will do when reset lands and you've managed to kill some of those bosses. And if you haven't, well, know that as a free-to-play player, this doesn't really affect you all that much. You can still play the game exactly as you were playing the game, and eventually just know that you will get to a point where, when you have beaten those necessary waves in campaign, that there will be things for you to look forward to and fight. Of course, you're going to need a team that can beat Chapter 1 in campaign to even unlock the first boss. You'll still need to get to 2, 5, 10 in campaign to passively gain this currency. So still follow the same strategies. Don't see this as some big game-changing thing. Unless, of course, the teams of people out there that test all the early game strats, find some way of using, I guess, it's probably going to be a Mockman or an Aspen, probably an Aspen, to go ahead and make a ton of progress. So yeah, my eyes are on Aspen or Jara as the potential hero that you will want to go and make a Destiny transitioned hero as a free-to-play player, but there jolly well could be strats with Alamak or Vulcan. It just remains for testing to confirm or deny those things. Either way, I'll see you next time. Let me know what you think about this update in the comments section down below, and hopefully it's going to give free-to-play players access to more power, which allows you to eventually, of course, clear the whole of campaign without even needing a giant killer hero, and that in and of itself is a good thing. See you next time, have a good week, and of course, happy idling.